What's going on? We're live right now. We're covering some lineups right now, helping you guys set those, answering questions. And I'm pulling up the Chiefs game right now just so I have it to watch while I'm talking to you guys. Kind of a watch along, but still, let me know what you're seeing from this game. I'm getting caught up here, and let's rock and roll. Any questions you got with your lineups, happy to answer those for you guys today. But let's get this game on. Start watching that. So let me get that on here. There, finally got it working. So I'm watching off a free stream. If you want a link to that, let me know. I'll drop it in the chat. I might do it anyway once I get myself set up, but I'm trying to get myself set up on my phone real quick. So let me know if you got any questions for your fantasy lineups. Drop them in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button. Helps the video out. Helps me out. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stream East. Must be on commercial. So we'll keep that right there. And let me find the link for you guys. And if this helps you guys out for watching the game, if you're not able to watch the game, it'll be right here. And you mess around with the link a little bit. It works. It's working for me. Let me get that up, and I'll send you the link to be able to watch it on your phone or wherever you're at. It's not really great on TV per se, like trying to stream it or cast it to your TV, but it's pretty good if you're watching it mobile. I'll say that. And if I got something that can help you guys out, I'm going to share it. This is something I lost my thing here. Hold on. I'll get back to it. Where am I at? There we are. Let me get to this link here for you. It's right there. All right. Back here. Let's see. Bookmarks. Mobile bookmarks. Where are you at? Mobile bookmarks. Starlink. Stream East. Click that. Bam. All right. I'm going to drop this into the chat. Halftime in progress as we get back is what it's saying. So what it's going to have right now is the Stream East. What's up, buddy? Thank you for watching. Thank you. Thank you. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here today. Thank you, guys. I'm dropping the link to the game in the chat. So if you're unable to watch it for whatever reason, if you're out and about and you're watching me trying to get information as they're at halftime, as it says here, I'm going to drop the Stream East link. And if you like pay-per-views, if you like UFC, I use this mostly for that. And while I'm on the road, I use that link. However, I do not 100% trust it for viruses, but I do not care too much on my phone. That's where I use it at, or iPad or whatever that's old. I use it on my old janky devices, but it's there if you need it, if you're in a bind. Good morning, Mario. Good morning, Dynasty Trade. Give A.J. Brown plus Zach Moss and a 2025 third. Get Eckler. Is that Kyron Williams? And Garrett Wilson. What do you think? Thank you. All right. So we're looking at, you give Zach Moss 2023 third. You get Eckler. You're getting Garrett Wilson. So the value of Garrett Wilson and A.J. Brown's pretty close together. And when you look at in terms of dynasty value, so you're pretty close there, depending on what you want there at that position and how you value that with A.J. Brown and Garrett Wilson, if I'm reading the GW right there. And then you're getting running backs on top of that. You're getting Kyron Williams. He's going to eventually be back. He's a part of this offense. And this team's not going to get rid of him. They may bring in some other backs here in the future. And then we know what we're going to get with Austin Eckler. And we know the timeline he's on. Zach Moss isn't on a long-term timeline either. And plus running backs are running backs. So really depends on how much you like A.J. Brown versus Garrett Wilson in terms of long-term dynasty value. And I think A.J. Brown's going to hold value for a long time. And I think Garrett Wilson is too. So the fact that you're getting two good running backs on the comeback off of Zach Moss, the third's kind of like the third's a third. The third is liquidity because that can allow you to move around. And you're giving up those players. I think you're getting a good return back. I think so. And you can always digest Eckler and Kyron Williams whenever you want. They're probably going to hold value a little bit longer. Let me know if you guys are hearing me okay. I was messing with some settings last night to work on some different types of videos. But I like that. I like that. The more I talk about it in my head, the more I like that. I think I like that. Love the content. Been listening for a few weeks now. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you. Start, sit, question, 12 team PPR Singletary Madison. Let's go to the rankings because I gotta check myself too before I wreck myself because that's how I do it. And I'm super objective. And some people don't like that, and some people love it. So let's see. We're going running back here. Madison, Alexander Madison, Singletary. And the thing about Madison is the quarterback situation. And they're both not in great matchups here. 4 for 4 has Singletary over Madison, and they're a lot more conservative, and I'm a lot more of a risk taker. So I use them as a gauge for me to humble myself. But off the gut, off the rip, when I was thinking about that, I was thinking about the rookie quarterback in from Minnesota and going against the Atlanta team that likes to keep things slow and do weird things. We know that, and we saw that with Bijan Robinson and the head issues. We see that with how they use Kyle Pitts. We see all that, and they like to run it a little bit slower. Devin Singletary's not in the greatest matchup. I look at it really when I think about these two players objectively as a push, and I see variance really just winning out here. But if we're following fundamentals, Devin Singletary with Pierce out, I kind of want to lean that, but I don't really feel good about it either. So if your gut is feeling the other way, then that's cool too. But fundamentals probably does roll with Singletary here, even though it's tight. All right, so thank you for watching, Reese. You got 2 running backs, a 1 wide receiver, and a tight end and 1 flex. So you got Taylor Pollard. You're starting those guys. Zach Moss at running back. So you can start 2 running backs. So Moss is in question for flex. Chase for sure at wide receiver. So that's one of the wide receivers down. And then it's Deontay versus Puka. And then it's either the other wide receiver versus Moss. The thing is, what are the reports for Stafford right now? That is the main thing. So let's pull that up real quick. Let's check on him because it was iffy. I think it felt like he was going to be out from reading the reports, but you're also trying to read the tea leaves here. I'd monitor Stafford here. Expected to play. Stafford suffered a sprained UCL. Expected to play. The matchup's a little gritty here. Everything's kind of gritty here in that matchup. Let's look overall, see what 4-4 saying. Puka versus Moss is my main thing here. Oh, I gotta go back. Puka versus Moss. Let's see what they got. 86 for Puka. Moss 64. I could see that. Thing is, Moss is safer. And that's what 4-4 is saying because they got Moss ranked ahead of Puka, but that could have been a little bit later, and they did not move him up due to Stafford being out, and they're expecting him being out. Moss is a safer play. I think Puka's got some upside due to him being Puka and due to him being with Stafford, but the risks are grand. Moss also has risks because it could be just a Jonathan Taylor game, but they also have a good matchup as well. If you want to play it safe, Moss flex, Puka on the sideline. If I'm shooting for upside, if I got a tough matchup, if my lineup doesn't have much risk in it, I'm going Puka. I'm a risk taker. I'd go Puka. That would be what I would be doing. I'd start my studs. But honestly, if I'm being real, I got to talk about both sides. If I'm playing it safe, I don't need to shoot for the risk. I'd go Moss, Deontay, Chase, those other 2 running backs. But Puka in there, if I want to shoot for upside, I shoot for upside all the time. That's why I always check myself where I wreck myself, and that's why I sound like a politician. It's Mario. Even better. Start 2 flex, Hollywood, Hunt, Singletary. So so let's talk about the Kenneth Walker, the Zach Charbonnet, and even the Kenny McIntosh. So did a lot of content on that last 2 weeks. So objectively, throughout that content, I feel like Kenneth Walker is the guy, and I mentioned that. And the reason why is he's explosive, 4.3 speed. We look at Charbonnet, probably going to get a little bit of touches here and there. It's going to be sprinkled in, and that's probably just how it's going to be. And the thing about the running backs is they've been a carousel of injuries last 12 months. So you really got to just have your finger on the pulse with them. That's really just sums up everything. And it's a lot of content to digest, and it's a lot to go through. But again, like, you got to think creativity wise when you're doing the content. You are in an industry where everyone's just take. Why not do content where it's just information found, everybody else dig through it, open book test, and then you can do a lot more of it. And then people go in through it and take what they want out of it, and they make their decisions from there. And then you get subscribers who watch every week who are really smart. And then you got a community who's really smart as well. So that's part of it. So going over the press conferences, going over the change in data. If there's change in data this week, maybe more for another player that we talk about a lot. That's just how it works. We got Charbs and Roshan I see down there. Thank you for watching, Brady B. Let me double check the matchups real quick in the rankings. I feel away with this. Charbonnet 150. Roshan 104. New Orleans Saints. Roshan, it's tight. I can flick a quarter here and go either way. What I think when I think about the game script, and I always go back to the game script, trying to think about how that's going to work, and then try and predict how it could break and how it could go, and just really brainstorm it up. I could really see the Bears having to use Roshan in the passing game a little bit. He led the running backs in routes ran last week, even though it wasn't grand. It was a mess. They used all three running backs. It wasn't even on touches, but it was close. But Charbonnet's got competition. He's got a tough matchup against the Ravens. It's on the road. Yeah, I mean, fundamentals say Roshan, really, when you're looking at the game scripts. It's tight. Flip a coin if you want to. Fundamentals is going with Roshan. 4-4 has Roshan up him quite a bit, and that's just a safer play. And they play it safe. They shoot for less risk. So I shoot for a lot of upside, so I got to use that to minimize myself. Star 2 flex PPR Hunt Singletary at flex. Hollywood. So Marquise Brown at 100 against Cleveland. Hunt at 87 against Arizona. About the best matchup you can get for a running back. Where's Singletary? Why ain't he coming up? Singletary's not in a great matchup against Tampa Bay anyways. He's not pulling up. This is what I think. If you want to play it safe, because you know Hunt's getting touches, you know he's getting opportunities. The rest of your lineup, not much upside with it. Hunt's in a great matchup against Arizona. That could be a game where he goes off. Hollywood, even with the bad matchup, you're seeing a guy with target share. You're seeing a guy with air yards. You're seeing a guy who gets those deep targets consistently. So when you think about that, that's an upside play, but it's against Cleveland, so there's a lot of risk there. So if you got a spot in your lineup here at your flex, start 2, Hollywood Hunt. Unless you want to be super safe and go Hunt Singletary. My preference would be Hollywood Hunt. I want that risk, and I want to play a little bit safe with that Arizona matchup with Hunt. Even though they're splitting workload, he's getting some touches. He's getting some carries there, and I love that matchup against Arizona every week. If I can go up against Arizona with a running back that I know is getting touches, I do so. Thank you, Rodney Wadden, for watching. Thank you. Thank all you guys. Start Darrell or Rashawn. Let's go deep on this one because that's how we do it here. I don't like to give like the one word answer. If you guys haven't noticed, like, yes, this guy, that guy. Because honestly, it's more than that because we're dealing with range of outcomes. And I feel like that's lazy to just say that dude without giving you context. And then if I give you context, maybe you make a decision off of that and that helps you more. And maybe I teach you some process or something and that helps you more. Darrell Henderson's got Green Bay. Darrell Henderson's got Matthew Stafford. Darrell Henderson's got a hurt quarterback playing through it. They may lean more on the running back. Henderson's been leading on the touches. Roschon Johnson's a little bit of an unknown. The matchup might lend to him if they use him in the passing game. They may have to because they're not going to chuck it deep. Projections, 10.2 fantasy points for Henderson, 8 for Roschon Johnson, RB24 Henderson, RB32 Johnson. Thinking of that through, you can run on the Packers a little bit. Fundamentals is saying Henderson. Fundamentals is saying it's tight. Fundamentals saying that variance could break that. If you want to go Roschon, you can. It's not too far out of the loop. I probably just talking that through. Talking things through helps you out a little bit too. I think I'd go Darrell Henderson. Right? Checking the game here. I got it right here on the phone. 21-0 Dolphins. If you pull up the chat a little bit, I got the link free on here. Let me see if it comes in. So don't trust this link completely. It will work for you. But if there's viruses, use it on an older device. But if you're out and about, you got an older phone, you're thinking about getting rid of it anyways, it hasn't given me any viruses yet. So I use this for pay-per-views. I use this for watching games. Just free sports, whatever you want. I'm going to share it. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But let's go here. Let's go to the next person. Singletary, Charbonnet, Myers, Amari Cooper, flex, 1 PPR. So this one player, Singleton, Charbonnet, same one, flex. So let's rank these out here. Deshaun Watson's in, right? Deshaun Watson's in. Let me double check him. Sure he's in. Back as starter Sunday. I think they're going to have Cooper ranked high, and that's going to be my number one player off that list. Why is he not ranked? They miss people out of rankings all the time. All the time. They did not rank Cooper. There he is, not an overall. Wide receiver 25, projected 10.8 fantasy points. You're against Arizona. You're going to be able to move the ball on them. Amari Cooper for sure is my number one guy. And then I definitely have Amari Cooper over Charbonnet. Jacoby Myers is in an interesting situation here because we know he's getting a ton of target share, almost 30%. But you got that quarterback play. We know what we're getting with Amari Cooper. It's him versus Myers. And if you're flexing two, flex them both in this situation. Singletary, he's getting touches. So he's safer over Myers because of the touches, because you don't know what you're getting a quarterback. But if you're flexing one, Amari Cooper, then you got the decision over Singletary and Myers in this group. Singletary's getting a lot of touches this week. We do not know what that's going to lead to. However, Jacoby Myers, it could be old hat for him. It could be nasty. We really can't project that with O'Connell right now. Singletary's safe. You know what you're really going to get. You're probably going to get a lot of touches, and you're hoping he crosses the goal line and maybe scores a little bit of fantasy points. Myers could be old hat. Could be nothing. Could be O'Connell just targeting him, or it could be ugly. And it's an ugly matchup against the Giants. That's going to be an ugly game. You can't really project much with that. That's a trash game. So really thinking about that, upside Myers, Singletary touches. You got Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper and Singletary is very safe. Myers put in there with the flat as upside, but if you're doing just one, Amari Cooper. But thank you for watching. All right, sit one. Devonta Smith, Mike Evans, Jahan Dotson. What's that Tampa Bay? what's that Tampa Bay matchup like? Tampa Bay is going to be throwing it deep no matter what. Doesn't matter if it's a bad matchup or good matchup. Thinking about that, I lost that. There it is. Jahan Dotson, I don't feel safe with because of the target share concerns. He's averaging about 5 to 6 targets a game, and that could be off and on just because Hal's been spreading it. He's been spreading it. Terry McLaurin's the trustable wide receiver, but we do have Curtis Samuel out, right? So Jahan Dotson could be getting some upside here. Devonta Smith against the Cowboys. That I feel like that's the matchup where you got to start him in. I feel like there's going to be some volume in that game. They're going to have to progress the targets. There's a lot of risk there because of the defense. And then you're looking at Mike Evans. I'm going to check his health. I can't sit Mike Evans. It's hard. We're looking at Mike Evans. Remains on wide receiver 1 radar against Houston. And that's the game I was talking about making a lot of stacks for. Mike Evans for sure. And then there's a dichotomy here. If you really think things through here with Jahan Dotson and Devonta Smith, that we have to really think things through instead of just like say, oh, this guy. Devonta Smith here is in a matchup that could be prime for him due to a tough defense, but in a matchup that could dictate a lot of scoring and a lot of volume, where Jahan Dotson, we have Curtis Samuel out, right? So that could lead to some extra volume. That could be some extra targets going his way. And usually he's getting you about 5 targets a game. He got you 8 last week, 1 the week before, 5, 9, 4, 5, 7. So you know you're getting 5 targets here. Evans is going to get deep balls, air yards. He's got that upside. You really want to be safe here. It's not really the safest play. You got the Patriots here, and Washington, you could throw on them before, and now they shipped off 2 defenders. So you're going to be able to throw on them a little bit more. You're going to have another matchup here where you can push the pace. Projections here are probably about even, or they should be, really, if you think things through. Double checking 4 for 4 on those 2 players. 22 for Devonta Smith. 27 for Jahan Dotson. Devonta Smith at 22, 10.9. Jahan Dotson, 10.2. They have Washington. They have the New England matchup as a riskier matchup, as a little less. The matchup, risk-wise, ranked 8th worst. Devonta Smith, 6th worst for wide receivers, so not too far off. I think the way the game could progress for Washington and the Patriots, it could be a shootout, one of those ugly games where there's just a lot of points scored. And really, you got to see where the targets gets funneled. So really, it's a coin flip, honestly. I think Devonta Smith has more upside, is a little bit safer, but I also think Jahan Dotson's in a good spot here to do some stuff because Curtis Samuel's out. We are going to have some volume in this matchup because the Patriots are going to want to throw the football in this game, but it could be uglier too. I'd go Devonta Smith, but if my gut felt a certain way with Jahan Dotson, I'd roll that. That's how I do it, but Mike Evans for sure. Stafford out. Did I come out? So Stafford out. So I forget what I've said about Rams players those last few minutes, but as we were working through that, with Stafford out, double check Twitter here. With Stafford out in that scenario, I'm dialing them out. Like that Puka question, those other players probably over. Probably Puka is going to digress a lot, and it's too risky there. He might be all right. But still, you don't want to take on that risk if you got other players. Yep. Inactive, thumb, not expected to play. That's what I'm rolling with. So, yeah, just digress Puka and the Rams players a little bit. Maybe Darrell Henderson, you might be getting some extra volume and touches, especially in the passing game. But it may be stunted due to the chains not moving as effectively. Let's see. Henderson, Singletary, Brian Robinson. Henderson, Singletary. So Hendo versus Brian Robinson. I feel safer with Brian Robinson. My gut said that instantly. I'm going to look for you real quick on these rankings. My gut said felt good, Kevin. Thank you for watching. No, my gut said Brian Robinson. Let's see. Not the greatest matchup, but this could be a game where he gets across the goal line. The rankings are dead nuts right beside each other with him and Hendo, and that was in my head too. I think this might be a game script that breaks with Washington and New England. I don't know the weather there. That might be a distinguishing factor. But Washington, they just got rid of 2 defenders. You can throw on them a little bit. But prior, I can see this game going off. I can see the Rams game. It's got a low over-under. The Rams game had an over-under of like 37. Vegas was predicting that earlier this week. Those numbers were from like Thursday or Wednesday. It's probably even lower now. I'd go Brian Robinson. The fundamentals say it's close. I say Brian Robinson. My gut just said it right off when I read that. Henderson, Singletary, or Brian Robinson. Okay, that's twice. Well, we got Dotson has eye offside this week. Yeah, Dotson does, because you look at the numbers here and you look at the season statistics and it says the matchup's not good for Washington here. But you look at it on the other side, Patriots are going to be throwing the ball. They're going to be throwing it, and that's going to push the pace of this game. And you got to think about the pace. You could definitely see the game script breaking. You got Curtis Samuel out. 5 targets a game, even if you hit that average, you got some upside there. I look for him to get that or a little bit better. I look for 5 targets kind of be on the low. I look for him to have some upside. I look for him. I kind of like this matchup as a sneaky play for DFS. As a sneaky play, looking at the values there. I've not looked at the values on DraftKings or anything, but I can give you a good guess because I've been doing it for years. I think this is a good game script to make stacks off of. I really do. I'm looking at the game right now. Dolphins got a 0 spot right now. We got 2. Man, it looks dark there. It looks dark. It looks like they're playing at like midnight. It probably is a night game. There was Germany. But another one, was it? Tampa Bay and Houston. I want to create stacks off that. The over-under was kind of low for what it was. But even in the low over-unders or lower projected point total matchups here, Tampa Bay throws it a lot still, and they throw it deep. And when they do that, that pushes the pace a little bit. And you can't run on Tampa Bay that well. You can a little bit, but they're more of a pass funnel team. Teams want to throw on Tampa Bay because that's the easiest way for teams to move the football on them. And Houston knows that. Everybody in the league knows that. We're going to see C.J. Stroud throw it a little bit more. Whether they can be effective, that's another thing. But with that being said, that's a sneaky matchup to create matchups for in DFS. Look at your DraftKings lineups, and if you're doing large tournaments, I wouldn't do cash unless it's one of the top guys. Look for those lower-priced guys in those matchups, and you got some gambles there. And I'm looking at bigger tournaments. If it's a tournament where you can only make like 1 to 3 lineups, you really want to be more tight with your lineups. But if they're max entry where you can just go off with 10 or more lineups in that tournament, play around with some of those skank matchups there where they could break, get some of those lesser-known players on the cheap, and see if one of those can hit, and then allow that to build the rest of your lineup there. Allow that to get you some higher-priced guys, because that could get you in the money there. Because if that cheap guy hits and he's in a game script that could break and not many people own him or rostered him in that tournament, and then you got these high-priced guys who have a higher probability of firing, you got this cheap guy in this matchup where we talked through that could break, that's something for you. And just look at all the matchups. Be like, I could see that one breaking. It's got a low over-under. And if it's got a lower over-under, that means in a lot of people's models, they're staying away from it or not rostering those players as much because they want to stay away from those lower scoring games because less likely of those players hitting in those games. That's why you want to look at those games that could break. That's why we talk about them, because you can really make some money there in those deeper tournaments that way. And that's what a lot of people do. A lot of those people are really good at DFS try to do too is try to get those ancillary wide receivers and running backs that could go off. That's what I try to do in the sneaky start video. It's more for DFS, but also those in like 16 teamers. Ford or Hunt. So with Ford or Hunt, let me see what 4-4 says on that, because you know what, they're very conservative with their rankings. I use them all the time. I love this matchup. They're right beside each other. They did not want to do anything with this. 9.9 points for Hunt, 9.6 points for Ford. So that tells us nothing. They're saying the same thing that's going through my head as probably mine and yours, that, hey, we don't know what the touches are going to be looking like because Ford's been dealing with that injury. And Ford's got more pop. He's got more upside. I would chase Ford due to the upside, and I'm more of a gambler. And if you're more of a gambler and you know that, and that's how you play, then you'll go Ford. Because this Arizona Cardinals defense, people score fantasy points on in bunches. In bunches. We saw Gus Edwards last week, Kyron Williams a few weeks ago before he got hurt. They scored points in droves. And that upside could allow you to do that and tap into that. We also got Kareem Hunt. We know he's going to be getting some workload. Probably a safer play. Safer play, less likely to get pulled out due to the ankle. More likely to get some touches, some workload, maybe even a third of it or half of it. Might get some goal line works, use a little bit in the passing game. If you want to feel safe, you will go Hunt. If you're a gambler, I would go Ford. And part of the gamble is that ankle and how they feel about him going in this matchup. I would go Ford and gamble. That's what I would do. But that may not be the best thing. But I'm honest. And I talked through it, and maybe something I said there resonated with you and you go Hunt. But that's how I do it. That's how I play it. And I may have 20 decisions like that with those two same players, and I'll probably mix it up. If you have a portfolio, diversify. Thank you, Dawkins. Thank you for watching. Thank all of you guys for watching. Drop some questions if you have them. I'll run through them real quick, but I'm about to jump off here, get ready for the games. I got to set my lineups too, but I really want to help you guys. Really love each and one of you guys for watching. Really helps me out. Honestly, I do this for you guys too, because I know like there are days where you're bored or something you guys are going through, and I hope like a video just allows you to forget what you're going through for that day, you know? Like that's what I want to do. Like really just keep you guys entertained, get you guys thinking, start some dialogue, make some friends, have some fun. These live streams have been fun every Sunday. But I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to catch this Dolphins-Chiefs game. Been watching a little bit right here, but I want to thank you guys. I'll catch you guys next week. I'll have a bunch of videos up on the channel all week long. I want to thank you guys for watching.